Sean, I know you told us before the game in the production meeting there were certain situations you want to see how your team handled things. You got a few of those on Friday night. How did you feel you handled specialty situations, red zone, things like that?
Yeah, I thought a lot of those situations did come up in the game, which was great experience for us. And, just when you think you've been around every situation, another new situation kind of comes up, and that was good at the end of the game with where we were and how to manage that. Obviously, the 2-minute drive, but to get us down into call it the fringe area where we were, high field goal range, wanting to get it down just a little bit more was good experience for us. So that, along with red zone, some backed up situations, all good stuff.
Sean, we saw Deion activated late last week. What's the plan for him moving forward to get him back into the mix?
Yeah, we just got to continue to take it one day at a time, John, and just see where he is again today, and just ease him back into things here with that coming off that COVID.
John, what's your take on this week? You had to cut 5 guys, get down to 85. It seems like it'd be more sensible to either cut more guys or cut no one at all. I mean, I know you're working through this for the first time, but how do you kind of make this system, work and be functional, be helpful to your team going forward?
In
terms of like the guys, you got to cut 5 this week, you got to cut 5 next week. Just the setup that you have to go through here in this preseason.
Yeah, I mean, those are the rules, so that's what we adjust to. Always hard to make those decisions, even when it's the first 5, because people's livelihoods are involved, and there's a lot of time that's been invested in those careers. And not that it's the end of the career. I think all those guys that we've moved on from are good football players and good people. So always hard to make those decisions.
Sean, do you have any update on Isaiah Hodgins coming out of the game?
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a knee, so we'll just take it one day at a time. Still kind of early, believe it or not, and just feeling how he bounces back, the swelling and all that type of stuff here. So we'll see.
Sean, going back to Deion, just, I know last week we saw him kind of working on the sideline by himself. Just where is he, physically, given how much time he missed and that he's coming off of that?
Yeah, Heather, he's not close to where he needs to be to play and help us. So he's got a long road here. So we're just he's gonna control what he can control, and so are we. And he's got to continue to work hard to get himself back to where he's. I mean, this is going on week 4 of training camp at this point. So he's missed a lot of time.
With that being said, how important is it for, we talked about it a couple days ago, but how important is it for a guy like Spencer Brown to get these reps and make the most of them, given that Deion is dealing with this and still working his way back?
Well, that's the I guess benefit, if you will, of Deion not being here and Spencer then getting the reps, because those reps are valuable. So I thought Spencer did a really good job in the game the other day, albeit it's his first outing. We'll just see where he is as we move forward this week.
You mentioned more reps. First real look at a game at Bobby Hart. How do you think he played? What's been your impression of him since he's arrived?
Yeah, I appreciate, he's got some snaps under his belt, and I appreciate the way he's approached it. He played on and into, I think, including the fourth quarter the other night. So, I've been happy with the way he's approached it, and he seems to be working on his game. He's here early most mornings here, and I appreciate that.
What was your thoughts on maybe Greg and some of the other FA and Boogie? You talked about how much you liked to see in the SAP. You wanted to see more, of what their game was snap to snap. What was your impression after being able to go through it again?
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of good moments from that entire group, the defensive line as a whole. It's, again, you never want to get too high after one performance, never too low. So I think that's for you guys to do, right? But it's there's a lot of focus on what each team's doing each week, and especially after week 1. So I just think we got to come out today and have the right mindset, including those guys, and that growth mindset's important to get out here and learn and ramp it back up again today and the next 2 days before we focus on Chicago.
Sean, you had a kind of fun-looking lineup there in the defensive line at some point in the game with Greg, AJ, FA, and Boogie in there. How do decisions like that come to be, like personnel groupings like that come to be, is that, you know, you say, hey, I want these 4 guys out there. Does Eric or Leslie come to you and say, this is, you know, what we think would work, or how does it?
Yeah, it's by committee, really. I mean, Eric obviously is the head position coach. He does a great job, and Leslie's involved with it. And then if I need to, you know, get involved, I do. More and more, I guess, as we get closer to the season, that'll happen. But you know, I've worked with Eric for a number of years, and so I know how he builds it, and Leslie as well. So I think we're all aligned, and it was good to see those guys get out there. You're looking for different combinations, right? And who can play inside, who's outside only, who's inside only. So position flex is nice to see, and I was liking how we were affecting the quarterback in particular earlier in the game there.
You said after the game that, you know, improving the defensive line, you're very intentional in doing so this offseason. I'm not sure off the top of my head you've been able to have a lineup like that since you've been in Buffalo. I guess how exciting was that to see kind of the early returns of that intention in the offseason?
Yeah. Again, I thought it was good. You know, there were times where we were in those positions and we let them off the hook, though, too. That said, I thought overall the defensive line showed up Friday night, and you could feel them in the run game, first of all, and then to your point, in the pass game as well, rushing the passer. So that's the early returns are good, but we'll just continue to take it one day at a time.
Sean, where's Zach Moss in relation to his hamstring injury, and how close is he to a return?
Yeah, he'll be out here a little bit today, Joe. You know, more so on the side today. And we'll try and get him back for the Chicago game as we see it right now. But, you know, he's got a ways to go here yet. So this will be an important 2-3 day stretch for us.
Along the same lines, Stefan missed a few practices before the game, and Emmanuel's kind of up and down. Where do they stand?
Same, pretty much. So Emmanuel's going to try and get some work in this week, and Steph is still down at this point.
Sean, what kind of growth have you seen as a pass rusher from Daryl Johnson from when he first came here as a young player to now 3 years in the system?
Well, he's come a long way. You know, coming from a smaller school, trying to adjust to life in the NFL, trying to adjust to the game on the field. But I really appreciate Daryl because he's always got a great attitude. He always wants to learn, and he's continuing to improve his game. You know, and I think we're seeing that. You saw that the other night. I think he had a sack. Was it third quarter maybe? So just love his attitude. He's a good young man that works hard, and you know, to carve out a career for this is year 3 now, right? So I think he's done a nice job.
When roster decisions are made, how much weight do you put into guys who've been with you and you've maybe been patient with them to hopefully reap the rewards? Is that a factor when making certain decisions?
Yeah, I mean, you try and weigh it all out. I think, you know, you never want to be just stuck and say, well, this is the guy that he's been here, let's just keep him, and that's not a healthy approach either. So, and that's why having a good staff is so important, that Brandon can ask the staff questions, I can ask my staff questions, and he and I can kind of volley back and forth and making sure that we're seeing it from all the different angles. You know, obviously, as we've talked before, trying to see it short term, but also long term, and who the best options are for us.
Sean, Jerry's someone who's out of practice the first couple weeks of camp. Now he's back. What are you hoping to get out of him in this season with that group?
Yeah, I mean, Jerry's one of the leaders of our defensive line and our defense. You know, that said, we also have to understand, you know, a little bit of where he is in his career. He works extremely hard, and he's a really good player, and so it's good to get him back out here, not only for the defense, but also for Spencer Brown and those tackles, Daryl, and Deion when he gets back. So that's a good thing to have him back.
Sean, I just wanted to clarify, Diggs. You said he's still down. Is there any concern at all that this is going to linger, maybe even in the regular season?
Yeah, not at this point, as far as I'm aware at this point, yeah.
Sean, you mentioned that Deion has a ways to go. Has his situation and the way COVID impacted him caused any sort of, I don't know, teachable moment in regards to the vaccine in Bill?
And, you know, I think we have a lot of teachable moments out there. I think we're reminded if you if I knew everything that was going on in the world every day, I'm sure there's a ton of teachable moments as far as COVID goes, and so just again, I hope that resonates with the people it needs to resonate with. That we, again, all of us, we need to all continue to be vigilant about doing the right things.
So whereabouts are you guys percentage-wise on vaccinated?
Yeah, I think we've moved a little bit since we opened camp, but that's about where we are. So,
Coach, I don't mean to be extreme when I ask this, but do you think defensive football is becoming almost like positionless football? I mean, it's not specialized as much. We know that, but I mean, guys can kind of be at all different levels. I mean, linebackers and DBs and linebackers and things like that.
That's kind of a deep question, Sal. I mean, I think it's evolved, yes. Like the game has evolved, right? But as much as it's changed, as much as it stayed the same, right? So I think certain fundamentals in the core of football will always be there. But it's a space game, and that's why these positions, I think, on defense is what we're seeing the evolution of some defense because of what's happening on offense.
And on that note, like your linebackers, they all seem versatile. They can do everything. They can Mike, Sam, maybe or whatever. But I know you guys like to have that. But is that an example of like when you go out and target guys for that? They can do all of that. They have to be able to kind of play in all those spaces.
Yeah, that's what you'd like. I mean, the more, the old saying, the more you can do, right? So it's true for all of us.
Speaking of linebackers, Andre Smith was all over the place. He played really aggressive. What was your impression of him? And got taken away, but showed the athleticism on that play.
Yeah, I thought he showed up. He was a factor in the game on more than just that play, like you mentioned. I think there's some good competition, good healthy competition there amongst those linebackers and some of the backup positions in particular. And of course, special teams will factor into that position as well.